from Baseball by the Yard. Today's video is for base runners. Now, I got an email the other day from an avid reader who was asking me to clarify where base runners, when they're taking their lead off second base, where those runners should be. And I emailed a lengthy response, and I know I wrote a post on this, and I may have touched on a video or two way back when, but I thought I'd review it here for everybody just so everybody's clear. Where the runner is when they take a lead off second base really depends on how many outs there are. Okay? Now, let's talk about the priorities here of a runner. Of course, one of the priorities that a runner has is to move up to the next base, which is third base. So they want to put themselves in a position where they can get to third base quickly. However, they also have another priority, which is they want to be able to score on a base hit. So if there's a pass ball, a wild pitch, or a fielder's choice or something like that, they want to get to third base. If there's a base hit, they want to put themselves in a position to score. The problem is the things I have to do to get to third base very easily sometimes will prevent me from scoring, and vice versa. So how do we manage both? Well, again, as I said, it's going to depend on how many outs there are. Okay, so let's start with no outs, or let's start with no outs, okay? First off, let me just say that regardless of how many outs there are, if you are a runner who's at second base, and it's likely that you're going to steal, okay? So you're a base stealer, and you think I have a very good chance of stealing third base. Anytime a base runner is going to steal third base, when they take their lead off second base, and in this configuration here, this is second base, and this white piece of tape here is going to represent the baseline, the imaginary baseline going to third base. Now, of course, my goal if I want to steal is to shorten the distance that I have to run as much as possible. So the closer I get to that baseline, the shorter distance I'm going to have when I have to take off and run to third base. So it doesn't matter how many outs there are. No outs, 1 out, 2 outs, even if you better make it if you're going to steal with 2 outs, by the way. But if I'm going to steal, no matter how many outs there are, I have to make sure that I am close to that baseline so that when I do take off, I have the shortest distance to run to third base. One mistake some base runners will make is they will be way back here and then try to steal third base. And they're making that distance they have to run a little farther. So whether the runner takes their normal lead right in the baseline, or whether they like to start back here and then walk up as the pitcher is getting set, the point is when they do take off on a base steal, they have to be near that baseline. Okay, so that being said, let's start with no outs, okay? When there's no outs, I have a greater priority to get to third base than I do to score. Because with no outs on a base hit, it's pretty likely that that coach is not going to send you because he has a lot of outs to work with, and it's more likely he's going to hold you up at third base. Now, if that coach is absolutely positive you're going to score, then it's not going to matter whether you're close to the line or back here. He's going to make absolutely sure that you're going to be safe at home plate. Otherwise, with no outs, he's going to hold you up on a base hit. So our biggest priority is putting myself in a position to get to third base on a pass ball or a wild pitch, because if I'm at third base, I have a lot more chances to be able to score. So with no outs, I would want my runners to second base to take their lead off second base in 2 ways. They could either go pretty much right behind that line, just like they're going to steal third base, or they could start back here, and then as the pitcher is coming set, they walk up to where that line is to be, so that when a ball is hit with no outs, I'm easily going to get to third base, or more easily going to get to third base. And if it's obvious I can score, I can still maneuver around the bag and send me. If I'm not going to score easily, he's going to hold me up. Now, things change a little bit when there's 1 out. When there's 1 out, I still have a chance to move up to third base and score on a pass ball, a wild pitch, a sac fly, fielder's choice, those types of things. But with 1 out, the coach is going to be more likely to send me. And so I want to put myself in a better position to be able to score. And that means creating a little bit better of an angle when I run to third base. Now, if I am very close to the baseline and there's a base hit and my coach is going to score me, if I run directly to third base, I have a very sharp 90-degree turn in order to go to home plate. Now, if I'm flying and I'm running as fast as I can, that very sharp angle is going to be a very difficult one to take. I also don't want to be, if I'm close to the line, to accomplish that, I don't want to have to run backwards towards the outfield in order to create a better angle, because I'm making that distance a little bit longer. So, in short, with one out, it is better for the base runner to be slightly farther behind the line because it helps me with my angle. I'm not too far back where it's going to increase my distance to third base too much in case there's a pass ball or wild pitch, but it puts me back a little bit more so that I have a better angle of going to third base. I can make that turn and score a little bit easier in case that base coach is waving his arm and sending me home. Okay, so no outs, close to the line. One out, a little bit farther behind the line. With two outs, my priority is to score. On a base hit, it is very, very likely that that third base coach is going to send you. Also, with two outs, there really isn't that much of a difference between being at second base and being at third base, okay? Because if at two outs and I'm off on contact, often I'm going to score just as easily from second base as I am at third base, because I am going, I'm not waiting to see where the ball goes, I just go on contact, okay? So because our priority becomes more about scoring, this is one where the runner is going to be a little farther back even more when they take their lead off second base and their secondary lead. Because again, I'm not so much worried about getting to third base. That would be nice, but I'm not going to take any chances going to third base because I have to make it. However, the priority becomes that coach is more likely to send me, and so I have to put myself in a position with two outs to be able to score. And that involves moving back a little bit off the baseline so that I can very easily create a good angle and keep flying around third base, touch the inside corner, and have a better chance to score. Okay, so to recap, with no outs, the general rule is stay close to the baseline or on the baseline. With one out, it's okay to move back a little bit, and with two outs, I would want my base runners to be a little farther back. And it's all about priorities between third base and home plate. Okay, so hopefully I didn't talk too much about that. Hopefully it clears it up, and hopefully you learned something. So give it a shot, practice all three, and of course you should always be practicing base running. It is one of the least practiced things in the game, but it's also one of the most screwed up parts of the game as well. And if you're a coach, you all know you will win games because of good base running, and of course on the flip side, you will lose games because of bad base running as well. So it's easy to practice, you just have to put in the work. Okay, so this is Coach McCreary signing off from Baseball by the Yard. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a good day.